I've been really cramped up the past few days. I've been very tired. That's why I haven't been streaming. When I get cramped, I can't play a lot of heavy duty stuff. I can. It's not like a cramp will mess up your hand or anything, but I always take it safe. I've been drinking a lot of water and bananas and stuff. I haven't been playing like any DMC or Assault Spy or anything because those games cramp me up. PSO2 as well. I can't really play that right now. It's just going to make the cramp last longer. Cramps aren't a big deal, but you don't want it to keep screwing with whatever you do normally. You kind of have to take it easy for a few days. Should be fine tomorrow, I think. Feels better today than it did. I also sleep in really weird positions. Groupie, what you doing? Wanna come back? Where'd you go? Groupie. 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 Hey, Lucy. What you doing? Come hang out with us. He just came in. Ruby. Yes, this is a very old game. It's like 15-year-old game. Oh. You can't even buy this game legally anymore. They lost the license. When I got my Vita, they had the game up for like, I think like a month or two, and then they lost the license. You can't even buy this game legally anymore. Unless you happen to still have a functional PSP lying around. I think mine still works. It's not a very expensive game to obtain, but you can't buy it digitally. It was backwards compatible on the Vita for a couple years, but they lost the rights to it, so not legally obtainable anymore. You pretty much have to find a ROM. I wish they would have expanded upon that. It's a really good game. I mean, it's obviously very, very low budget. The budget for that game was like $5, but it manages to take the good stuff and make it pretty functional overall. Pretty enjoyable game. I still like playing it. I've beaten that game like a billion times. Ugh. Alpha 3. Oh, does this game not work? It's like stuck in an endless loop. Oh, glad I didn't start playing this. So I wanted to play the single player modes, but if it's not going to save, then it's pointless. I wonder why, but everything else has been emulating just fine, but for whatever reason that game it can't detect the memory card. Let's try that again. Well, that's really strange. Maybe it's like a bad dump or something. Everything else I played PSP-wise has saved just fine. Can't really play this without saving, though. At least if you're going to play the single-player content, which is the only reason to play this. Because all the versions of Alpha 3 they've made since are just the arcade, just an arcade ROM dump. Yeah, I don't know why that doesn't work. I have the Dreamcast version, but the PSP one has like has Yoon and Mai, a couple other characters, I think. It's like the final version of the game that has the single player stuff. Everything past that is just a ROM dump. I was pretty disappointed with the Street Fighter 30th anniversary. Never mind the shit netcode, the fact that it doesn't have any of the single player modes besides arcade mode. Like the Alpha 3 on there is way worse than the one I have on here. This one's got World Tour and Dramatic Battle, like ton of single player content, but they stopped putting that in the versions. Let's check something really quick. You know, the net code being bad is not really that much of a big deal because people who actually play those games seriously, they all play on Fightcade. It's the fact that they don't have the single player content is what really pisses me off. The net play would have been dead in a few months anyway. It's the fact that they're just ROM dumps. I regret buying it. I only paid like $20 for it, but the versions I have on here are better. They're better in pretty much every way, especially since I'm not intending to play it against an actual person.
Take five.
That's right. You can't change the controls like this. I'm not used to the jump. Let me how do I fix this? This is working surprisingly well though. No issues whatsoever. I tried Basara, it didn't work. I had to delete it. Let me see. I think I can fix it within the game. And just get back to where I was. Oh, no, I can't. It's because I have A map to jump, and that's B on the controller, so I can't. That sucks. I kind of wanted to play that right now. It's a very old game, so it has not the best config. I can't actually change the controls the way I have it right now. I would have to, like, turn off the stream because Dolphin emulation's not that great. It's got some problems. For the longest time, I thought it didn't detect my controller at all. It turns out I had to turn off auto rotate on my phone to get it to let me change the buttons at all. And I'd been trying to get it to work for like weeks. And that was why I was getting a black screen in the games too. That was the only thing that was wrong. Like, okay, what the hell is wrong with this emulator? Like, RetroArch doesn't have any problems with that at all. It just auto rotates just fine. But the Dolphin core in RetroArch does not work. It doesn't work on my phone, at least. It just crashes. Hello. Oh, I can't play right now? That's whack. I got this character, but try to get the next one. Yeah, we're just chilling out here.
Yeah. I'll be going to bed.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll take care of everything.
Okay.
In about an hour, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, just get some rest. Good night. Oh,
この戦闘は勝たなければいけません。ターゲットまだまだです。やはり私を頼るべき。お忘れです。私の方です。お忘れです。本物のヒーローは苦しみを経験しないと。
I got all the free crystals from here. I have like no welfare left. I had horrible luck getting that character I was just playing, the one with the weapon switch mechanic. I had horrible luck getting that character. It just would not give me that character at all. It's really weird. I think there's something in here I could buy when I get paid. Maybe I could finish the set. Let's see, how much is it? I would do it like right now, but I've got I'm gonna get charged for my groceries for the month in the morning, so I can't really can't really mess around with money stuff right now. Yeah, this one would give me 20. How much is that? But he's been talking about how KOF is dying. It's kind of a bummer. I like some aspects of that game better than this, but like the monetization is better in that game for the most part. It's better. Yeah, I think I harvested all the free currency out of here. It's all been harvested. Got like 2,000 out of here without spending any money. I think I get paid tomorrow, so we'll see. No, this is that one where they don't let you play who you want. No wonder I never finished this one. Standard thing you hate in action games. We're just gonna make you play as shit characters, not the ones you actually want to play as. Everybody loves it when you do that, right? Why does every game do that? Could probably get some more crystals out of there, but I'll probably just cash because I'm only missing 3 pieces of that character set. It's very feasible that I could get it. Since I haven't played in such a long time, I didn't really have a lot of surplus resources.
Street Fighter Alpha 3. It's showtime. Face it straight.
Hey, Groupie, come on. What you doing? Come on. Come on, Groupie.
You win.
She was in her little hideout. We're not eating yet, Groupie. I'm telling her we're not eating yet.
Stand up. Face it straight.
Can't even do Rekkas like this. Eric, Alpha 3 Max was not working. The emulator couldn't detect the memory card, so I can't play that. I'll have to look into it later. There's nothing I can do about it right now. No. The answer is no. You can do it yourself. You make a lot of requests, man. Just enjoy what I play, please. If I was taking requests, you would know. You can make suggestions, but don't like demand stuff. Especially like right now. I'm just playing to kill time. I'm at my second job right now. I don't even have time to do something like that. I know you're just passionate about my channel, but yeah, I let people know when I take requests. That's fine. No harm. Doesn't bother me that much. It's just people have been very demanding in the past. They ask me for stuff, and it's like, are you gonna pay me? Like, ask for like really advanced stuff, and it's like, I have too many projects right now. I try to please everybody, but I'm only one person. I don't really take on any projects that aren't. I was kidding about that. You can donate for other stuff I'm doing, but if you want to just donate to the channel, my links are in the description. But no, I'm not taking requests right now. Donate because you want to support me, not because I'm going to do something for you. Oh, okay. No, but I get people asking for like really crazy stuff. It's like, pay me. It's usually like do some really long video, a compilation or something, and they offer no compensation for doing it. It's like, if you want it done that badly, you could do it yourself. Like put together like every super move in this game with 100 characters. It's like, no, you could do that yourself. Yeah, people do that to me all the time. And I just want to tell them to buy the game and play it yourself. I have done stuff like that before, but I've been kind of moving away from doing it because it's so stressful and time consuming. And I'm already like dual wielding jobs right now. Plus, this channel is kind of a money pit. It's been very expensive to run lately. No, they asked for me to make compilations of stuff. And like beg for it, and it's like, well, you can buy the game and play it yourself. You don't even need a capture card anymore. You don't even need a computer anymore. When I started doing this, it was a little bit more understandable that people would beg for that kind of thing because making content had a much larger barrier of entry back then. You needed a DVD ripper. The capture cards were really crappy back then. There were no HD capture cards. You needed a computer. You needed to rip the DVDs. Like, I get that people were demanding back then, but then there's like still demanding. It's like, just make it yourself. They never offer anything in return either. Yeah, my phone only has 128 gigs, and it has no expandable storage. So I have to keep deleting stuff when I'm done with it, but I've been pretty good about finishing the games that I put on here. I finished a decent chunk of the Dreamcast games already. I finished most of those. Need to work on the PSP games next. Probably just delete them. I wasn't aware that the phones, because the phone I had for like 5 years pretty much. I wasn't aware that they started taking away micro SD card slots. I didn't really know that until I bought this one. $128 gigs is enough though. I have like all my music on here. I have all these emulated games, and the fact that it's Type C helps. Like even to move like a 4 gig file, it only takes like 20 seconds. So I don't think I'll really have to worry about it much. Can always just move things off it. The only thing that would really be a big deal is if I like traveled or something. Dude, it's a full ROM set. What the hell are you talking about? It's a full ROM set. I just put them all on there. Didn't have time to go through like all on there. Didn't have time to go through like 2,000 games and find the ones I wanted to play. I don't know anything about wrestling.
ハンターバンディットストーリーモード
キャラクターセレクトほう have to look up the moves for this. He's got like a
a fireball. He's some kind of DP. I don't really know what I'm doing. Feels nice though. Like a plane ship. Who's here?
Outside.
Who's there?
I don't know. I don't know if it's. Oh, it's Shadow.
You're gonna get fed soon.
You'll get it, girl. You'll get it. Just keep on pacing like that. She sticks her head right in the. Oh, Jeremy?
Yes.
Cuckoo's in Scott's room. On his bed.
All right.
So you might need to feed her away from there, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how she gets. All right.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night. Yeah, when I need one.
Yeah, in about half an hour I'll do it.
Yeah, right.
They're starting to come in.
Okay.
Oops. I need to sit down and finish this game. Maybe tomorrow stream. This is the unreleased global version, which removes all the IR card stuff, so you can finish it in one sitting. You level up a lot faster. This game was actually never released outside of Asia, but for whatever reason, in the ROM, there's a fully playable English version that has like revamped mechanics. Because this is supposed to be like a really grindy game. You're supposed to level up and get better gear and stuff. I guess at some point they were planning on releasing this elsewhere, but this is a 2008 game, pretty recent. One of the last beat 'em ups released in the arcade. I guess they figured there was no market for it, so it was never released. But when the game got dumped and emulated a couple years ago, they found that there's like a fully playable, like rebalanced version of the game. Weird that they would go to that effort and then like never actually release it. I would have played the shit out of this. My arcade got it back then. Oriental Legend 2. Second to last beat 'em up that IGS made. Pretty much the last arcade beat 'em up was Knights of Valor 3. They're like MMOs, but not quite. It's kind of like how Initial D and Maximum Tune works. Like if you don't have the card, then you can't really do much. It's not really meant to be played once. You're supposed to have the card. The problem is I don't know if I can get the card working. I don't know if I can get the card working through here. Normally it has to be done through MAME, but I don't know how to access the MAME core from here. This is pretty much the last arcade beat 'em up ever made. Outside of that shitty Ninja Turtles one that came out recently. But that one's American made, so it's already not good. It's already a recipe for disaster. An American made beat 'em up. That sucks. I can't play as Liu Bei. I like Diao Chan, like Liu Bei. Those are the ones I like playing as. The controls are all messed up. Didn't fix it. Yeah, Oriental Legend 2 was 2008, and then this was 2011, so it's only like a decade old. But it was not dumped for emulation until I believe 2017. Yeah, that's literally the last arcade beat 'em up. There's that one from Ninja Turtles from Raw Thrills, but Raw Thrills makes really shitty arcade games, but they sell because they're not weeb stuff. And arcades have been struggling for a long time, even before the pandemic. They've been struggling for a really long time, and there just hadn't been any real new games coming out, so they make shitty games, but they're not decrepit old 20-year-old games from Capcom and Namco, so they make money. As bad as they are, there's a market for it. I saw footage of that new Ninja Turtles beat 'em up, and it looked pretty bad. It looked like you couldn't actually 1cc it, which is harkening back to the good old days. Pretty much all American arcade games were shit because they were not designed to be 1cc'd. They were literal just quarter munchers. Yeah, their games are trash. Basically taking advantage of a market that's pretty much dead, though, because even before all this virus stuff, there were barely any games coming out. The problem is that with arcades, pretty much all the stuff you would actually want to play, like the Japanese stuff, is all on Nessica or AllNet, and Nessica requires a very expensive license. So basically made it so that nobody outside of round one can actually have an arcade with games that aren't ancient. If you live near round one and it's still open and they're actually starting to reopen soon, then you can actually play like somewhat current arcade games. But a regular like brick and mortar family owned arcade, all they're gonna have is like Raw Thrills and maybe like Tekken or something. Otherwise, old ass stuff, which, those games are great, but they've been sitting in those arcades for like literal decades. And as you can see, I have like pretty much all of them right here. I've got a pretty decent chunk of what you would find in a standard arcade. I have CVS 2, Marvel 2, got a KOF game, Power Stone, Alpha 3, Third Strike. Those are like all you can find in arcades anymore that are not round one. I actually have not played Time Crisis 5. A couple years ago, I went to the round one in San Jose, but the calibration was all messed up. I couldn't play it. All I know about Time Crisis 5 is the frame rate is very inconsistent, and they basically shipped it with like half the game, and then they put the other half in later. They didn't actually ship a finished game. They pulled modern video game shit where they did like half of it and then they put it in later. And then the player 2 guy, Robert Baxter from Time Crisis 2 is like evil for some reason, and he's like creating zombies or something. Like, what the hell happened? That's so random. Time Crisis has never had any kind of a coherent story. Like, what impact is there to making it a playable character? It's just like character assassination for a character who never had any character to begin with. Yeah, the one time they had it, the calibration was messed up, and I told the employees to fix it. They tried for a few minutes and then just shut it off, and I haven't been there since. I've actually 1cc'd Time Crisis 4. That's one of my proudest arcade 1cc's. I finished Time Crisis 4 without taking damage. I actually do have a 1cc of Time Crisis 4 on here on the home version. I did a full commentated run, but this was back in the pre capture card days, back in like 06 or whatever. I 1cc'd that game. I was really excited when 5 came out, but I just I've never had an opportunity to play it. I don't really know what the fellow hardcore arcade goer impression is of that game. I just know it was released like half finished, and they have like a random heel turn from 2P. Yeah, player 2 of Time Crisis 2 is the bad guy. Just incredibly random. I don't know why. What's the point of that? Are they expecting it to be like Shakespearean, like Darth Vader or something? I don't understand. Isn't it like an hour long or something? I heard it was like an hour long. That's pretty crazy if it is. 'Cause the other Time Crisis games are like 20 to 30 minutes long. So obviously with a light gun game, you can't have the game be too long because it's more physically exhausting than just sitting there and pushing buttons. Same reason why like DDR and stuff, those are like 15-minute games. Yeah, I don't know if I'd like that game then. That's way too long. That game was kind of a workout in its own way. Not as good as like DDR or Pump It Up, obviously, but there's a decent amount of physical activity. I wonder why they like double the length. I had the endurance. I could do like a couple attempts, but a couple attempts a session, but it still is more exhausting than doing what I'm doing now, just sitting on my phone with a controller playing random games. You can choose half the length. Oh, that helps then. So why does Robert Baxter turn evil? That's what I want to know. Why does he turn evil? Is there even a reason why? Is it just like we're trying to go for shock factor in a video game series where everybody skips the cutscenes? Or the only reason people don't skip the cutscenes is because they're just resting their hands. That's the only reason we ever watch the cutscenes. The cutscenes are basically just like a breather. You didn't watch them for the story. No sane person did. That's so random. Cannon Spike's pretty good, yeah. I like this game. I actually had this game as a teenager. Yeah, that boss has he's the original Dark Souls character. He's tired after like 2 seconds of physical activity. He's out of stamina. It's an OG. Dreamcast was great if you liked arcade games. It was shit for everything else. It's a terrible console if you wanted like original games, but if you were an arcade junkie like I am, it was like the best you could ask for. This was the first console that had arcade perfect ports because it was on the Naomi hardware, which is basically just a Dreamcast. So it took them very little effort to port stuff as opposed to like a PS1 before it, where they didn't have enough video RAM and stuff to actually port an arcade game. Stuff like the Versus games, the Capcom games, only having like one character and all the stripped animation frames and stuff. That was a thing of the past when this came out. I was lucky enough that my mom bought me a Dreamcast when I was in like 7th grade. Problem with the Dreamcast, it was ahead of its time. Sega didn't really put the money in to make it something that the average normie gamer would want. Somebody who didn't go to the arcades all the time and stuff. The real shit console. They had like Sonic and Phantasy Star, and that was basically it. That's a total of like 4 games, so not enough to be a system seller to somebody who doesn't like arcade games. If you did like arcade games, there was an infinite amount of stuff to play. And a lot of them are even better than the arcade versions. This is actually hurting my hand. All right, well, I think I'm gonna Zombie Revenge worth digging into? Not really. That game is a shooter disguised as a beat 'em up. I had that game too. It's all right. There's better stuff you can play though. A lot of it is just shooting. I don't think the melee is actually really viable in that game, from what I remember. There were 2 main reasons the Dreamcast died, and I don't really think piracy was as much of a factor as people like to say. Yes, the fact that most of the games actually did not use the full GD-ROM, because it didn't use CD-ROMs, it used GD-ROMs. They could hold like a gig of data. So that's actually part of the problem too, that people don't realize, is that the discs only held 1 gig of data, and then the PS2 came out like a year later, and it had up to dual layer DVDs, which is like 8 gigs. Yes, the fact that you could put most of the games on a CD-ROM and just burn them because there was no copy protection, it was a factor, but storage space would have done it in really quickly. Also, Sega was pretty bad at getting any third-party support that was not an arcade game. Like I said, that console was amazing if you grew up in the arcades, because everybody at that age was used to really shitty arcade ports. Occasionally you get one that was functional, like Street Fighter 2 and stuff, but most of the games are really stripped down, especially stuff like Neo Geo. All those ports are really bad. But they just didn't have much of a library. And then the PS2 came out like literally a year later and did a lot of things better. For one, it had more storage space. They had third-party support that was not just arcade games. And then it was also a DVD player at a time when DVD players weren't like $20 like they are now. They really won the home market pretty much just by having all of those things. That's one of the things that made the GameCube less viable to certain households too, because it didn't play DVDs, whereas the PS2 could be used as like home entertainment and then gaming. It's a shame. I really love the Dreamcast, but I'll be the first to tell you it has a very one-dimensional library. If you like one type of game, it has endless amounts of stuff to play, and some of them like the Mars Matrix port. This has never been ported to anything. Giga Wing on the Capcom Arcade Stadium that just came out like last month has really bad input lag, so you're better off playing this or the arcade version. Alpha 3, same deal. Everything past Alpha 3 Max doesn't have any of the single-player content at all. It's just a straight arcade ROM dump. So even 20 years later, a lot of the games I have on here, these are the best versions. It's just if you weren't into the arcade stuff, it had basically nothing to offer. It's in the wrong place at the wrong time. All right, well, I'm going to head out. My hands are still cramped a little bit, so I might come back with maybe some Honkai Impact. Yeah, the input lag is really bad. There's also unintended slowdown, too, in a lot of the games. I regret buying it. And apparently the reason why it happens is because it's rendering like all the cabinets and stuff in the background. Maybe when it comes out on PC, it won't have that problem, but yeah, I'm tired of shitty arcade ports. Like, why is stuff like Mars Matrix? Why is the best version still 20 years old? like, what sense does that make? They don't have Mars Matrix on that collection either. That game has not gotten any kind of port since 2000. Pretty much one of the best shmups, one of my favorites. You can't play it anymore. Does this have extra stuff? I don't remember if it does. Oh, no, it does not. Mars Matrix actually has a bunch of... Actually, let me show that off before I go. That'll be the last thing I do tonight. I'll show off the extra stuff that the Mars Matrix port has that the CPS2 dumps don't. I actually had this game too. I lost it. I don't have it anymore. There's all kinds of stuff you can buy in here. You can increase the level. You can give yourself... the gravity hull bomb can charge faster. You give yourself more ship speed. It's pretty cool. It can make the game a lot easier. It's more relaxing playing it that way. You have to unlock free play. In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. Here's all the cores they have. Best thing is probably MAME current because the other cores are very old. They can't run a lot of the newer stuff like the last couple Cave shmups Cave put out. They can't run any of the PGM 1 or 2 stuff. There's a couple other good cores in here as well. There's DS, but I haven't tried that yet. I was gonna get that ROM hack for Dawn of Sorrow. Maybe play that during these Kittysitting streams at some point. The Dolphin core does not work, at least not on my phone. It crashes every time. But you can just use the regular emulator. It's basically just having all the stuff in one spot is really nice. The fact that I can do this, I organized all my stuff. I've got my Dolphin stuff, which I can't run in here because it's not compatible with my phone. Dreamcast, I have Super Nintendo, PSP, and then a bunch of CPS2 and Neo Geo stuff. It's nice to have all in one spot, but there are certain limitations. I know playing Knights of Valor 3 is kind of not really useful because you can't make the cards. It used an IR card system like what's it called? Maximum Tune, Initial D, stuff like that. I'm not sure how to emulate that in here. I'll have to look into that next stream. But yeah, if you have a decent phone, this is probably the best because a lot of the other emulators on phone are not that great. Well, this has pretty much just been plug and play. I haven't had any problems with it besides Dolphin. And the Dolphin problems are not isolated to me. Apparently, the Android 11 update screwed up a lot of the compatibility with controllers and stuff. I found a way around that. I've made some guides about it, but yeah, RetroArch is worth it, especially since there's a Reddit called ROMs. If you go there on the sticky, they basically have like every game you'd want to play on archive.org, which is basically internet preservation. Like a lot of these games you can't buy anymore. I actually had most of these games legally at some point. I had Cannon Spike. I had Marvel 2, of course. I had both Power Stones. I had Project Justice, Alpha 3, Third Strike, Mars Matrix. They have pretty much all of them on there. So it's basically just downloading the ROMs off archive. So you don't even have to worry about shady-ass ROM sites anymore. That's one thing that always turns people off emulation. It's having to deal with those shady-ass ROM sites. That's not a problem anymore. Pretty much every game is on archive.org. It's not as fast as using like a torrent, but you can pick and choose stuff. Like I got all these off archive.org. No random shady sites that try to give your computers STDs or anything. Pretty easy. Anyway, I gotta start doing meal prep for the kitties. I might come back when I get home, maybe around 10:30 or so. I might feel like playing something. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Nice to see another arcade junkie in here. I think a lot of the people that watch me didn't really grow up in the arcades, but I did. So I like having all that stuff accessible on here. I'll probably come back in like an hour or so. I'll see if I feel like it.